HOA thought nobody was watching. They were very wrong. They thought nobody was paying attention. Not the emails sent late at night. Not the private conversations after HOA meetings. Not the sudden fines that only certain homeowners received. For months, the board acted like they were untouchable, until one moment changed everything. Because what they didn't know was that someone had been watching quietly, documenting every move, every lie, every abuse of power. And when the truth finally came out, their entire HOA collapsed almost overnight. Welcome back to UrbanTales_41, the channel where HOA power trips meet real consequences. Here we uncover the stories they never wanted homeowners to hear, the meetings they hoped you'd skip, and the moments when ordinary people finally push back. If you've ever felt ignored, threatened, or silenced by an HOA, you're in the right place. Before all the chaos started, life in the neighborhood was quiet and ordinary. People waved while walking their dogs, kids rode bikes in the evenings, and most of us barely thought about the HOA at all. The rules seemed simple, the fees were manageable, and the board felt like background noise, something you only noticed when the monthly email hit your inbox. At the time, none of us imagined how much power they actually had, or how badly they were about to abuse it. The first red flag didn't come with yelling or threats, it came quietly. A homeowner received a fine for something others had been doing for years without issue. Then another warning appeared for a rule nobody remembered voting on. When people asked questions, the responses were vague, defensive, and strangely aggressive. That's when it started to feel off, like the rules weren't being enforced fairly, only selectively. After that, things escalated fast. Fines started stacking up without warnings, emails turned cold and threatening, and the board stopped answering questions altogether. Homeowners who spoke up suddenly found themselves targeted, while board members' friends seemed untouchable. It no longer felt like miscommunication. It felt intentional, like the HOA had realized no one was challenging them, and decided to push as far as they could. That's when something clicked. During one meeting, I noticed how differently they spoke when they thought residents weren't paying attention. Casual jokes, offhand comments, decisions made before any votes were taken. That's when I realized it wasn't chaos or incompetence. It was confidence. They truly believed nobody was watching them closely, and that mistake would end up costing them everything. From that point on, I stayed quiet and started paying attention. I attended every meeting, sat in the back, and listened instead of arguing. I took notes when motions didn't match the minutes, saved emails that contradicted what was said out loud, and tracked which violations disappeared and which ones mysteriously multiplied. The more I observed, the clearer it became. This wasn't poor management. It was a pattern, and they had no idea someone was finally connecting the dots. The smoking gun came when one board member laughed and said something they clearly didn't mean to say out loud, admitting that certain fines were useful for keeping people quiet. The room went still for just a second, then they quickly tried to move on, pretending nothing happened. But it was too late. That single sentence confirmed everything I suspected, and in that moment, I knew I wasn't just watching corruption anymore. I had proof. Once I had the evidence, I didn't waste a second. I shared the recordings, emails, and notes with the community, posted the proof online, and alerted local authorities who oversee HOA compliance. Suddenly, homeowners who had felt powerless were talking, sharing their own experiences and demanding answers. What had been hidden behind closed doors was now public, and the board could no longer pretend everything was fine. The truth was out and there was no going back. The board panicked almost immediately. Emergency emails flew back and forth, private meetings were called, and members were whispering frantically to cover their tracks. Some tried to blame each other, others begged homeowners to stay quiet, and a few even threatened legal action, but it was clear, the damage was done. Their carefully controlled image had crumbled, and for the first time the HOA realized they were no longer in control. In the weeks that followed, the consequences hit hard. Several board members resigned, unable to defend their actions, while the HOA itself was forced into a full audit that revealed even more irregularities. Lawsuits were filed, fines were rescinded, and community elections were overturned to ensure the leadership was replaced with people who would actually follow the rules. It was quiet, methodical justice. No dramatic speeches, just accountability finally catching up to those who had thought they were untouchable. What this experience taught me is simple. Power only lasts when no one is paying attention. HOAs don't collapse because of rebellion, they collapse because of transparency. The moment someone starts reading the documents, attending the meetings, and asking calm, informed questions, the illusion disappears. You don't need to be loud to protect your rights, you just need to watch closely. If you've ever felt like your HOA was hiding something, Drop "watching" in the comments and let them know homeowners are paying attention. And if you've dealt with unfair fines, shady meetings, or power-hungry boards, share your story below. Your experience might help someone else realize they're not alone.